Welcome, valued consumer. I am Dr. Chatter. I have often thought of expanding my business through the help of temporary workers. That is why I am constantly cloning myself. They are perfect for menial grunt work and experimenting on. But you may be asking, Dr. Chatter, I want to know what it's like to work alongside you, so I will let you in on a little secret of mine by making an instructional video about the rules I program into the cerebral microchips implanted in all my clones. These rules ensure the health and safety of me at very low expense. Rule number 1. Don't ask questions. My labs are filled with things that are on a need-to-know basis. And my clones don't need to know what I'm up to. This also goes for asking the same question repeatedly. Or even posing a hypothetical because one makes you look dumb, and the other makes me look dumber. That's when I start shooting lasers. Rule number 2. Don't touch anything unless I tell you to. Often this is because of rule number 1. However, sometimes my clones need to touch things to accomplish their task. Or because I think the outcome will be educational. Which is often also very hilarious. Rule number 3. Nothing is sacred. I'll try anything here at my labs. The idea of imposing the ideas of rights for robots and animals or even utilizing ethical guidelines just seems silly. Knowledge is what we strive for at my labs. Not understanding. If I understood what I was doing all the time, it would just be work. Rule number 4. The KISS method, or keep it simple stupid. This is more of a guideline than a rule. Especially if I have to explain something. Another example of keeping it simple is going by the numbers. And when I say numbers, I mean money. I am not NASA and I don't have money to make a pen that works on almost every surface, underwater, and upside down in space. I do what the Russians did and use pencils. Simple answers not only save money, they save time. Rule number 5. A design theory known as crap. What? Seriously, I got beeped? Why can't I say that? Oh, well. The word itself used to mean chaff, like the flaky stuff that comes off wheat, but when I use it, the word is an acronym which stands for contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. All artists use this even if they don't know it. Which means all the best art is crap. And science isn't art as well, or at least merchandising it is. Rule number 6. Don't poke the bear. There are many different kinds of bears at my labs. I am one of those bears because I snore when I sleep and because winter pisses me right off if I have to be awake during it. My genetically modified flying bear sharks are the other bears. Of course, sometimes I tell a clone that a sleeping bear shark looks dead and he should take a 10-foot pole into the cage to check. But then again, who wouldn't do that to a clone? Now, I suppose you could also say that certain individuals and organizations can be considered bears, like the government or certain religions. But I'm less concerned about them. They don't have an enormous flock of flying bear sharks like me. Rule number 7. No cell phones or flash photography. For obvious reasons of privacy and data control, but also because they send the flying bear sharks into a blood frenzy that few things can withstand, including their cages. Rule number 8. Always make a copy or backup. My clones are one example, paperwork is another, various digital storage devices are also another. But my biggest backup is also known as always have a plan B. Of course you should also have a plan C, D, E, F, and so on. But if the plans start multiplying exponentially like this, then I usually just revise the original idea, because it's obvious I wasn't keeping it simple. Rule number 9. Have fun. Or more correctly, make sure I have fun. If I let my clones have fun, they would probably get into trouble, which may interfere with some of the delicate proceedings that I have going on. Like my own fun time, it's kind of like Asimov's rules of robotics. Only skewed to prevent me alone from harm and aggravation. My happiness always takes precedence over that of my experiments and clones. And finally, rule number 10. Always wear a helmet and safety equipment. I should have mentioned this earlier, but then again I usually don't even bother. Because it's funnier, and the lab can be such a dry place that every so often I like to liven it up with a few maimings or severe burns. I, of course, am always wearing the right gear for the right job. And I'm also usually behind the safety wall. This is definitely helpful on the purge days when I flood the lab with random chemicals so my living experiments can be prepared for the next stage of their usefulness. In other words, I sweep out all the dead stuff and compost it. You wouldn't believe how much the mulch from clone and bubonic plague add to the flavor of garden produce. I hope this enlightens you as to what it's like to work here at the labs. Normally I would tell you to get out. But I didn't really invite you here anyway. So instead I will thank you for watching. Good night, and if you hear a gurgling growl or hear some scratching on your rooftops, then it might be best to stay inside for a few months. It's either Mothman or one of my bear sharks got loose again. I'll send a few clones over to trap whatever it is, eventually. Just leave your name and number after the crap.